Om. Om. गणानान्त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्र्यवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् हृदाकाशे सदा भान्तं शान्तमानन्दरूपिणं ज्ञानभानुमहं वन्दे सद्गुरुं सत्यसायिनम् ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् ॐ आदित्याय विद्महे सहस्रकिरणाय धीमहि तन्नः सूर्यः प्रचोदयात् ॐ आरोगो भ्राजः पटरः पतङ्गः स्वर्णरोज्योतिषीमान् विभासः ते अस्मै सर्वे दिवमातपन्ति ऊर्जन्दुहाना अनपस्फुरन्त इति कस्यपोष्टमः समहामेरुन्न जहाति तस्यैषा भवति यत्ते शिल्पं कश्यपरोचनावत् इन्द्रियावत् पुष्कलञ्चित्रभानु इन्द्रियावत् पुष्कलञ्चित्रभानु यस्मिन् सूर्या अर्पिता सप्तसाकम् तस्मिन् राजानमधिविश्रयेममिति ते अस्मै सर्वे कश्यपा ज्योतिर्लभन्ते तान् सोमः कश्यपादधिनिर्धमति ह्रस्ताकर्म कृदि वैवम् प्राणो जीवानीन्द्रियजीवानि सप्तशीर्षण्याः प्राणाः सूर्या इत्याचार्याः अपश्यमहमेतन्सप्तसूर्यानिति पञ्चकर्णो वात्स्यायनः सप्तकर्णश्च प्राक्षिः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः offering our collective love at the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan Shri 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 Satya Sai Baba Varu. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Hari Om, Shalom, Sai Ram, Namaste. We are studying the Anuvakam 7 in Aruna Prishna. We finished the Mantra 20 and 80% of Mantra 21 in looking at their studying the meaning. this Anuvakam, this Anuvakam and the next Anuvakam, Anuvakam 8, Anuvakam 7, completely is focused about the Surya Mandala, the constellation of Surya. Surya is referring to sun. Sun, as it refers to the physical sun that is part of this planetary system, is one aspect, but this Surya is not one sun. And this mantras describe in detail about this entire constellation of suns. Surya Mandala Nyakhyaika Atha Urdhvagum Sanirvachanah. That's how we ended the Anuvakam 6. Arogo Bhrajaf Pataraf Patangah Swarnaro Jyotishiman Vibhasaha. So the mantra start with description of 7 suns. And the 7 suns named as Arogaha, Bhrajaha, Pataraha, Patangaha, Swarnaraha, Jyotishimanu, Vibhasaha. All these are the ones that are making sure that there is light, and Divam Atapanti. They are spread all over the space. And by doing so, without harming anyone, they bring Urjanduhana, nourishment to the entire beings on the universe. And then the mantra 21, mantra 20 also goes into what these description of not only the seventh one, 7 sons, but also there is a eighth one called Kashyaposhtamaha. Kashyapaha Ashtamaha, the eighth one called Kashyapa. And that eighth one never leaves the Mahameru. Samahamerun na jahati. And what is this? And then it is described that the entire cosmos is the Shilpam, the beautiful, the beautiful manifestation of this eighth one. And this eighth one, Samahamerun na jahati, and what that eighth one is ambiguous. It was not clear at all. So this is Kashyapa, therefore, is not a rishi or an individual. Kashyapa is described in these mantras as a phenomenon. And that phenomenon, what that phenomenon is, we went through that. And that one, the 7 ones don't hurt. The visible spectrum representing the violet to the red, those are the 7. And those 7 are enabling production in the food, and that spectrum of that 7, they do not hurt anyone. Obviously they do not hurt, unlike other rays of suns like UV rays, gamma rays, X rays. There are so many different rays. So this is all I don't know how many of you watched that I would say one of the best descriptions of what Vedas are as epistemology. Huh? And that was a phenomenal experience from Bhagwan, who woke me up at 1:30 in the morning and said, make slides for the talk this evening. And I never made any slides for any talks, period, because the power is his and the point is his. But now he's telling me, make slides. I had no idea why he was asking me to make slides. I got up at 1:30 and I texted this brother who arranged this talk and said, hey, what is the poster that you guys have sent to the university students? So Swami said, all these university students are coming. They're none, most of them are not Satyasai devotees. They won't have the awareness. So you have to put it all in slide format so that they'll understand, just like you are going to give a talk to the students like a professor. So I had to wear a proper professional attire for the talk and go like as if I'm talking like a professor. So the rest of it is his story. And he started telling slide after slide. how it has to be built, what are Vedas, why chanting mantra, what are the myths about Vedas. So why I'm bringing that up is that this Aruna Prashna is a phenomenal example of this epistemology. It is a combination of science, spirituality blended in such a beautiful way that it is like a scientific study. It's like reading a scientific review of this entire thing called the sun and what happens with this sun. Not the sun that is not only the sun that is physically what we experience on the earth. So it goes into all these aspects. Now it is talking about this, all these different rays of sun are there. The one that are the seven, those seven do not hurt anyone. Anapaspurantayiti. Urjanduhana. Anapaspurantayiti. They give the nourishment without causing any harm. Kasyaposhtamaha, there is the eighth one, Samahameru Najahati, it never leaves the Mahameru. And in fact, it is the one in which all the seven are present together as the seven. Yasmin Surya Arpita Saptasakam. Saptaha Sakam. Sakam means together as a group. They are present in this eighth one. And the same seven ones, they are external. The same seven ones are present internal. Tasmin Rajanam Adhivishrayevam iti. See now what is happening with the Arunam or Rudram is not just about chanting. It becomes a conversation. And when you are actually connected, you're a it's like a dialogue. It's like an inquiry. It's like a question and answer. So what then the mantra goes on. We completed the study of the 21st mantra, the first 8 lines. Te asmai sarve kashyapat jyotirlabante. All these aroga, bhraja, patara, patanga, nihana, all those arogo, bhraja, patara, patanga, swarnaraha, jyotishiman, vibhasaha, all those seven, te sarve. What do they, where do they get their luster from? They derive their luster from this Kashyapa. And this Kashyapa has been given uh, the power by Soma. Soma is the one who gave, in fact, the Tan Soma Kashyapat Adhinirdhamati. So using the power of Soma, it is this Kashyapa has been enabled to give the luster to the seven. Or you are talking with me, tracking with me. Uh, it's like a dialogue. It's very easy to chant Rudram because it's like a story. It's like a flowing thing. Except places where suddenly a teaching will come. That is very powerful. So, Tan Somah Kashyapat Adhinirdhamati. For example, like Bhrasta Karmakrit Ivam. Bhrasta Karmakrit, a goldsmith who blows the fire through the bellows. So that fire is blowing through these bellows in order to make the gold. So it was described by these acharyas. Then now you see how it goes inside, outside, inside, outside. Not only describing what is outside, the objective of the rishis is not to describe the science. While describing science, they are constantly pointing out how that is related to you. That is what you have to get from the talk. How Bhagavan has very beautifully described the rotation of the earth has a frequency. And that frequency of the rotation of the earth, there is a vibration frequency associated with the rotation of the earth. And when you tune your mind and intellect to that vibration, then your awareness has expanded to that of the earth. How powerful that is. If you have a Wi-Fi router in your home, Wi-Fi router, your phone without any data has limited capacity to reach out to the higher awareness, what is outside in the world. But the same phone will tune into the frequency of your Wi-Fi router. And when it tunes into that Wi-Fi router and gets connected to that frequency, whether it is 5 hertz or 2.5 hertz or whatever that frequency is, your tool, the iPhone, has now the capacity to connect to much more broader outside world through internet, through this Wi-Fi. Wisdom invited for individuals. But if you don't use it properly, it can become worry invited for the individual. So when you turn this limited capacity instrument by connecting to the frequency of another instrument that has a bigger capacity, your awareness of that I has tremendously expanded. Now the I as in iPhone. Now if you understand all of these mantras like that, then you will know, oh my God, I am tuning into the frequencies of everything that is present around me, from earth to sun and in between all the mother nature, and that is the power of Veda mantras. Bhrasta karma kridi ivam. Then they're saying how they are related inside. They are related inside pranaha, indriya, jivani. Pranaha, jivani, indriya, jivani, saptasirshanyah pranaha, surya, iti acharyaha. I think that's where we finished the understanding of the mantras. And what we left there is that, hey, these Sapta Suryas that you're talking about, they're not only outside, the same seven are associated with our own perceptions, as in the Indriyas, the five Indriyas, Indriyas simply meaning those that are the five senses of perception, the five senses of perception. Shrotratvak Chakshu Jihva Gharana. In English, that is hearing, touching or feeling, then seeing, smelling, and tasting. So those are the five senses plus the mind and the intellect. These seven are sapta sirshanya pranah. So there are seven senses of that. There are seven senses that are important for perception along with the mind and intellect. There are also seven organs in the sirsha, in the head itself. There are two eyes, uh, two ears, the nose, and the two nostrils, and the mouth. Those are the seven. Sapta sirshanyah. There are seven in the head that are also enabling awareness or knowledge. Then there are also seven as in pranas. The seven pranas meaning the life forces. Those life forces bring prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. And there are two subtle ones that are also included in that seven, naga and kurma. Naga is the movement of this life. When you have full food, you burp, and that burp is like the movement. Naga, it's like a snake movement upward in the body. Imagine how much your parents would have struggled when you were a kid and you did not burp. They will pick you up and hit you on the tummy and all of that stuff, so that the movement of that will indicate that you are full, satiated. If you did not burp, it will be a disaster. Kurma is also the incredible blinking movements, subtle movements, for example, associated with the eyelids. Some people have, problems with proper movement of the eyelids also. So now see how incredible this is. And then we were talking about who is this Soma. So the goldsmith that is blowing this fire of Kashyapa through these bellows, the seven bellows that he uses when he is making gold ornaments. That Soma is the Sa plus Uma, Soma. A. When you reverse it, it is Aum, Uma, Aum, Uma, Aum. Aum is Om. Reverse of it is Uma. I described this in detail in the Rudrajnana Yajna videos. If you go and look at the 8th Anuvaka description of the Rudrajnana Yajna, there is a lot of description about this word called because the very first mantra in the Anuvakam 8 is Namas Somaya cha Rudraya cha Namas Tamraya cha Arunaya cha Namas Shangaya cha Pashupataye cha. So now the Aruna also is coming there. Namas Somaya cha Rudraya cha Namas Tamraya cha Arunaya cha. So that is where we stopped. And then the next mantra is Apasyamahame tad sapta suryaniti panchakarno vatsyayanaha saptakarnascha plakshihi. Okay, let's chant those mantra, 2 lines, and then we'll get into the meaning of the Apasyamahame tan saptasu uryaniti.
Om apashyamahametan saptasu uryaniti apashyamahametan saptasu uryaniti.
You are a master corrector without correcting the Shyama. I did not use the long vowel and you corrected me. Okay, it is metan. I said meta. Apasyamaha metan saptasu uryaniti.
Apashyamahametan saptasu uryaniti apashyamahametan saptasu uryaniti
Panchakarno vatsyayanaha.
panchakarno vatsyayanaha panchakarno vatsyayanaha
Saptakarnascha plakshihi.
saptakarnascha plakshihi saptakarnascha plakshihi
Apasyamahametan saptasu uryaniti panchakarno vatsyayanaha saptakarnascha plakshihi.
apashyamahametan saptasu uryaniti panchakarno vatsyayanaha saptakarnascha plakshihi
So the words in that are apashyam, aham, etan, saptasuryan, iti. So the way what the syntax is what is called assembling the syntax in Sanskritam or in the Veda mantras is the syntax is aham means I have, apashyam seen, etan these, saptasuryan the 7 suns, iti this. Then the next line, Panchakarnaha, Vatsyayanaha, Saptakarnaha, Cha Plakshihi. And this was declared by 2 people as the literal meaning of them. I'm giving the literal meaning. How it is interpreted as literally is declared by 2. And who are those 2? Panchakarnaha, Vatsyayanaha. Panchakarna, it is translated as Panchakarna, who is the son of Vatsa, Vatsya. This is Vatsa. Saptakarnaha, who is the son of Plakshi. This is how it is translated. So now, what they're saying here, what they're saying here is that, yes, I have seen these Saptasuryas. This was declared by two, Panchakarna, who is the son of Vatsyayana, Saptakarnaha, who is the son of Plakshi. That is the meaning of it. Now, this Saptasuryaha, first and foremost, this word Sapta is seven. Saptasuryaha, seven sons. The seven is is introduced in various places. Seven as a divine number associated. Why? Because seven is fundamentally, you can do the exercise on seven yourselves. How many ways the seven are present inside, outside, as time, space, and identity. So as you are going through that, what are the seven in me? As what are the seven in me? As the gross, the subtle, the causal. Gross means physical, subtle, little not so physical, and the subtler, the subtlest. Am I making sense? So for example, gross aspect, the seven organs that we are talking about, the seven organs before in the head, they are physical. Then subtler than that is the seven pranas, they are subtler than that. What? And then so once you start beginning to put these, then you will see various mantras. uh, For example, in Mundakopanishad, Saptah prana prabhavantit saptat saptarchishah samidhas saptahomag sapta ime lokayeshu charanti prana guhashaya nihita sapta sapta. This is a mantra from Mundakopanishad, where they are talking about the seven pranas. They all originate from that. Who are they originating? They are originating from this Akshara Purusha, Guhashaya, emerged. This Maha Purusha, the Purusha meaning the consciousness, supreme consciousness has emerged as the seven sense organs, the seven fires, the seven sacrificial fuels are the homa that is offered as the in the Samitha as the Sapta Samitha. Where do you get the word Sapta Samitha? Purusha Suktam. Yes, good. Purusha Suktam has the Sapta Samitha. Sapta Prana Prabhavanti Tasmat Sapta Archishaha Samithaha Sapta Homaha Sapta Ime Loka. There are seven lokas. Eshu Charanti. In all those is moving. Prana Guhashaya Nihitah Sapta Sapta. This is Mundakopanishad mantra. So the seven the samithas, the seven homas means seven different flames, seven worlds, in which in all these the sense organs are moving in groups of seven and seven. So I'm giving you homework. I know if I give homework, nobody, a lot of people, you can see the, how people stay with the course. Huh? Oh, initially, there is so much enthusiasm. Ding, 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 ding. There is no ability to hold on with Shraddha and Saburi. That is grace of God. If you are able to hold on to a study, that is grace of God. Because you are incapable of doing this in this modern world with so many things happening. So pray for that grace of God, that I want to be in this with steadiness. So in those of you who all came to Yajna, you will notice that for Purnahuti mantra, there is also another Sapta mantra used. Huh? What is the mantra, Chandrasekhar Ganeshan? Huh? What is the mantra where you use the sapta for the Purnahuti?
Don't remember, no? Sorry.
Saptate agnis samithas saptajikva saptarshayas saptadhama priyani saptahotra saptadhatva yajanti saptayoniravrunasvaghute cha swaha agnaye saptavada idanna mama. Okay. So you have to have not only the ability to be present, but when you are listening to certain words, automatically you should trigger, hey, I heard this before somewhere. Where did I hear? That is what is called presence. Total presence. Saptate, in this mantra is very famous mantra. Huh? This mantra that is chanted as Purnahuti. It is offered when Purnahuti is offered, every Homa they have to chant this. Saptate Agni. Saptate Agni Samidha. O Agni, you have 7 Samitha, offering 7 Samithas in the Purnahuti. Sapta Jihva, you have 7 tongues. Sapta Rashayaha, 7 sages. Sapta Dhama Priyani, 7 beautiful abodes. Saptahotra, 7 priests. Saptadhatva yajanti, you are worshipped in 7 forms. Saptayonihi avruna, 7 sources that you are covering with. What is that 777? This is, I'm only giving you the pointers because some of this you have to do the research yourself. What are those 7? The 7 number, therefore, is a incredible significance. How many days are there in a week? Yo, that's a very difficult question. Okay, okay. There are only 7 days. So therefore, that's related to time. There is no 8th day. There is only 7 days. Then there is 7 aspects of space, 7 aspects of causality, 7 suns. So that's what they're saying. Apashyam aham etan sapta suryaniti. Apashyam aham etan sapta suryah iti. Iti means so, it is so declared. So that is the fundamental aspect of the entire cosmology is now coded into this 7, but don't get caught to that like that, because the rishis will clarify. They're incredibly brilliant rishis. We'll come to that later. Now these two have declared, Panchakarna, Saptakarna, they have declared that they have visualized or seen these 7. That means what? They have experienced the spectrum of the 7 wavelengths in the sun. As Arogah, Bhrajah, Patarah, Patangah, Swarnaro, Jyotishiman, Vibhasaha. What are these? These are scientists. But remember, their objective, as I keep saying, is not to describe science. Because the rishis, they're not attached to objects. Their main goal is to turn it inside and becoming an awareness of what they have observed. Until that happens, there is no point at all in chanting all these mantras and all of that. The point meaning, the point is limited. There is a point in doing it, but that point becomes limited. So now, who is this Panchakarna and Saptakarna? My God, this I was looking who are these Panchakarna, Saptakarna. I have even talked to experts. Sir, you are writing based on Shayana Bhaskara that this Panchakarna and Saptakarna are the sons of Vatsa and Plakshi. Is there any evidence or Vedic text or literature associated with this Panchakarna, Saptakarna? They have no answer. They say, no, sorry, Then why are you translating this as son of Vatsa and son of Plakshi? Vatsyayanaha Plakshihi. So Panchakarnaha, Saptakarnaha, Vatsyayanaha, those are what we are trying to say is that literal translations, but there is no direct evidence of such rishis, because what happens, for example, Vatsa. Vatsa is a rishi who is well known for his commentary on Nyaya Sutras, that means logic. And in several Vedic texts, he is mentioned. There is also a Gotra, a lineage based on Vatsa Rishi, not related to Srivatsa. Okay, Srivatsa, that is a different Rishi. This is Vatsa only. Srivatsa is not the Gotram here. So now, that particular Vatsa, yes, there is a solid evidence in Vedic texts that was a Rishi by name Vatsa. There is also solid evidence associated with another Rishi called Plakshi. And he is recognized in the Taittiriya Pratishakhya for his contribution in Vedic phonetics and grammar. So he was the one who is a linguist by name Plakshi. So there is evidence of a guy called Plakshi. There is evidence of a guy called Vatsa. There is no evidence of Panchakarna and Saptakarna. Of course, it is quite possible that the texts that they have composed are the Vedic literature associated with those rishis, if they are one called Panchakarna, Saptakarna, might have disappeared in due course of time, because a lot of Vedic literature has disappeared in due course of time because there were no practitioners or learners associated with this incredible knowledge, unfortunately. And it was not written on books. And even if they have written on their books, they were not crazy of putting their name associated with them because they were so unselfish. Their objective was not to publicize themselves. Like most of the human beings' objective is to how to project themselves into the society, putting all kinds of things on their names associated with whatever they don't even have any right over. I'm telling you because yesterday, this YouTube guys are saying, they wanted me to delete some video associated copyrighted, somebody copyrighted Purusha Suktam. And YouTube is sending me this email, please remove this content because it refers to Purusha Suktam chanted by some idiot. I'm sorry, that's what is called. They're called idiots. If they're copywriting Vedic texts and putting their name associated with Vedic texts, they're the most ignorant, blasphemistic idiots, stupid people existing on this universe. How can you copyright? And there was another video that has Om Jai Jagadisha Hare Satya Sai Hare. I get a note from YouTube, delete this content because it is copyrighted by someone. Copyright? This kind of stupidity has to be erased from the human mind. So anyway, what was I saying? So Saptakarna, Panchakarna could have been these unselfish rishis who have not copyrighted or put their name on some literature. Possible. You know how unselfish people were? This entire thing called Venkateshwara Suprabhatam. Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravartate. That whole Venkateshwara Suprabhatam is an anonymous contributor. Nobody knows who composed Venkateshwara Suprabhatam. What an incredible composition that is. Why that? Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Jhayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Nobody knows who is the author of that shloka that is chanted by millions and millions of people. So what am I saying? Yes, it is quite possible that Panchakarna, Saptakarna could have been rishis. They belonged probably to the lineage of Vatsa and Plakshi. However, there is no evidence of any text that we can refer to and say, indeed, those are individuals. So then symbolically, okay, even if they are, how does it apply to me? Karna means ear. Karna means also angle. Karna also means a vector or an aspect of learning something. If you apply the symbolic word Panchakarna, then symbolically sage Vatsa has probably mastery over his five senses, or maybe mastery over the five elements of nature. And therefore, sage Vatsa might have himself said, using these five angles. Angle is Kona, Kona is Karna, Karna, Kona, Kona. Kona in Sanskritam means angle or a perspective. Panchakarna, Panchakona, using five aspects of learning. I have seen these seven rishis. Could be a statement by by sage Vatsa himself. Vatsyayana means the word belonging to. Panchakarna, Vatsyayana means the five tools belonging to Vatsa. Using those five tools of mastery, he has seen these Sapta Surya, the seven suns. Similarly, Plakshi, as I already mentioned, is a authority over Vedic grammar. He was the one that actually brought in rules of pronunciation and phonetics, which our script team is always focused on. Huh? Script team is focused on phonetics and all of these things, pronunciation, phonetics for the Vedas. So possibly he had mastery over seven aspects of sound, and therefore he might have said, using those seven angles or seven aspects of mastery, he has visualized this beautiful thing called Sapta Surya, the seven suns. See how much time I am spending on this is because in this world right now, the knowledge is so superficial and people publish books and all of that stuff, and they don't actually go deep into it to understand how can I relate to this? How do I actually represent this in a way that it doesn't mislead people? And from that point of view, I am talking about all of this stuff. By the way, the word plaksha is a beautiful word. Plakshi, plaksha. Plaksha is the name of the tree called Vatavruksha, are also called Ashwatha Vriksha, scientifically called as Ficus religiosa. That is the botanical name of it. Ficus religiosa. It has a religion in it. Ficus religiosa. So Dakshinamurti, Chitrambataror Mule, Vruddha Sishya Guror Yuvaha. See, Vatavruksham. Dakshinamurti sits under this Vatavruksham. And that Vatavruksham is called Plaksha. And underneath that Plaksha, Vriksha, Gautama Buddha also received enlightenment. Therefore, it is also called Bodhi Vriksha. Meditation under that particular tree accelerates the sadhana and also enhances mantra siddhi. It has such a powerful aspect associated with it. Why it has such powerful aspect? Because Sakshat Sri Dakshinamurti, who is the master of the entire universe and all the vibrations possessed, if he is sitting under a tree, the tree automatically got divinified with all the vibrations of the Vedas associated with it. And also, for those of you who were fortunate enough to get initiated into Gayatri Mantra, the first danda that is given, the stick that is given to the brahmachari, is that stick from the Bodhi Vriksha or the Plaksha tree. With all this, I want to say, Om Sri Sai Sadhakanugraha Vata Vriksha Pratisthapakaya Namaha. Whole thing comes only to SAI. The whole thing has to be centered around SAI. Sadhaka Anugraha Vatavruksha Pratisthapakaya Namaha. Bhagavan planted this beautiful, last time I was in Puttaparthi, I spent and meditated under the tree. God knows how much time, only Swami knows. And it's such an incredible experience to be in Puttaparthi sitting under that Vatavraksham. And you go and do the mantra japam underneath that. The mantra will just stand in front of you and it shows the exact swarupa associated with it. That is the power of that Vatavraksha in Puttaparthi. Swami himself has said that this is directly the tree under which Gautama Buddha has realized himself. The same tree I am planting in Puttaparthi. So Plaksha, Plakshi, Saptakarna, all this I am mentioning because the power of visualizing the 7 Suryas without a telescope, without any scientific, aided tools, and with complete awareness. This is what the rishis have done. And don't think that a tree that you are seeing is an ordinary thing. Even a tree like a plaksha, like the Vatavriksha, or also called Ashwatthavriksha, it has such power associated with them to enhance our sadhana and to become aware of ourselves. That is the conclusion of that mantra. I don't know if I've taken too much time explain. My God. अपश्यमहमेतं सप्तसु अपश्यमहमेतान् सप्तसु ऊर्यानिति पञ्चकर्णो वात्स्यायनः सप्तकर्णश्च प्लाक्षिः. That is the meaning associated with the 21st mantra. All of you are blissed out? Huh? Yeah. This body has no intention of putting its name on anything. Because putting your name on something is also bondage. Once you put a name on a book, constantly you are thinking how to publicize that book rather than realizing what is in the book. Constantly this ego trip goes on and on and on. This experience of South Africa doing 16 satsangs in 22 days, it is really something that I have never experienced. This body has never experienced. 16 satsangs, the content of each satsang is unique, not repeated. So you can imagine what this God of immense grace, Karuna Samudra, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba does is, he doesn't want you to suffer from happiness. It's a journey that's like a incredible roller coaster that puts you constantly on this path of going inside, going inside, going inside. I'll tell you one incredible example of where the ego comes and how he erases that. For the Youth Day, which was on the 16th in South Africa, I was fortunate to address this youth in South Africa in Durban. This mind was completely prepared to talk about the topic called From Human to Hanuman, because I thought that topic would be very relevant for the youth. How do you turn from a human to Hanuman? And in one place, I even announced that if you come on 16th, you will hear this topic called Human to Hanuman. And so all the preparation in this mind was done. And then I went up to the stage, I bowed and placed my head on Swami's feet, came down, took the mic. Whatever I prepared was erased, completely erased. And he talked what he wants to do. And in fact, if you go look at, I don't know if somebody recorded it or not, but that doesn't even matter to this body. The bottom line is there was no mention of Hanuman. There was nothing that this body prepared it talked about. That's how the beauty of Swami works. Anytime, any association with anything, he'll make sure, hey, you are not under control. You are very simply the microphone. The speaker has something different in mind. Don't worry if the microphone has all prepared to be ready. The speaker can speak whatever they want, the speaker wants. And then what happens is in that experience, what happens? Oh, what am I talking about? Why is this coming? Why is that coming? What is happening here? And you become that you are being just used in the context of a medium in the not don't please don't mistake that I want to be crystal clear. I'm not saying that Swami speaks through me and all of that stuff, please. And also I'm not a guru, I'm not a teacher, nothing like that. That is another type of trap, nonsensical trap. Don't believe in all this nonsense. Swami doesn't require any medias of communication. Each one of us can experience the same thing, 100%. Each one of us can experience this incredible divine consciousness that works through you. And then suddenly you realize that you are much more beyond what you are thinking as this limited body and mind when you allow that to flow through you. In that context, I am saying, I'm not at all saying that I'm unique, or in fact, I told somebody recently that if you're more ordinary than ordinary, then you're called extraordinary. The word extraordinary doesn't mean anything special. You are more normal than normal, so you're called abnormal. So become an abnormal person, become extraordinary. Don't not even ordinary, even lower than ordinary. Then you will begin to touch the subject, the base. And when you begin to subject this base, apasyamahametan sapta suryaniti panchakarno vatsyayanaha saptakarnascha plakshihi. You will have, you will belong to Plaksha. You will belong to Vatsa, Plaksha Vatsa. Using your 5 tools, the senses, using the 7 aspects of your life forces, then you will begin to understand that the Sapta Surya, the 7 suns of phenomenon, is something that is present completely within you. And in that context, I was sharing all of this. Okay. 5 more minutes. Should I start the next mantra or stop here? Okay. Thank you, Swami. On the roller coaster. Let's go to the next mantra. What they are saying, what these 2 rishis have said is the mantra 22. Anushravika evanau kashyapa iti. Sorry, Anushravika evanau kashyapa iti.
Anushravika evanau kashyapa iti.
Ubhau vedayite.
Ubhau vedayite.
Nahi shekumiva mahamerungantum.
Nahi shekumiva mahamerungantum.
Yes. So the statements of these rishis, what they have experienced, they are elaborating on that. Anushravika evanau kashyapa iti.
Anushravika evanau kashyapa iti. आनुश्रविक एव नौकश्यप इति
उभौ वेदयिते
उभौ वेदयिते उभौ वेदयिते
न हि शेकुमिव महामेरुङ्गन्तुम्
न हि शेकुमिव महामेरुङ्गन्तुम् न हि शेकुमिव महामेरुङ्गन्तुम्
आनुश्रविक एव नौकश्यप इति उभौ वेदयिते न हि शेकुमिव महामेरुङ्गन्तुम्
आनुश्रविक एव नौकश्यप इति उभौ वेदयिते न हि शेकुमिव महामेरुङ्गन्तुम्
आनुश्रविक please repeat. Yes.
आनुश्रविक एव नौकश्यप इति उभौ वेदयिते न हि शेकुमिव महामेरुङ्गन्तुम्.
So the word by word, anushravikaha eva. Anushravikaha eva means it is only by hearing. Iti ubhau vedayite. The two rishis have known now Kashyapaha, about Kashyapa. Nahi Shekum Iva, they did not have the ability Mahamerum Gantum to reach the Mahameru. So essentially what the mantra is saying, these two rishis, they're saying, it is only by hearing we have known this Kashyapa. We did not have the ability or the capability to reach the Mahameru. Ayya. Now you see, what kind of evidence is that? It's called it is itihasa. Means it's only by hearing we have known about this Mahameru. We don't have a direct experience of this Mahameru. So what does that mean? Now you see, this is what I am sharing is how I understand this mantra. Always it is like turning inside. See, always inside. That means now external interpretation is that, oh, this capability of these guys is limited. Oh, even if sage like a Vatsa or a Plakshi could not directly, did not have the ability or the capability to get to this Meru, who am I? I am gone. I am lost. So therefore, I will stop giving. I will stop even trying. Right? This is what's called another point of ego. What your ego is always telling is you always compare with others. And you say, okay, if two great rishis who have seen the seven Suryas could not understand what this Mahameru is because they didn't have an experience about it, how can I ever get to that? So therefore I give up. Thank you very much. No more Aruna Prashna. We're done. The way I understood it is, and it could be wrong also what I am understanding. I'm not saying my understanding is the perfect. So applying this thing called karna, which literally means only directive perceptive evidence, just by using your powers of perception, there are still limited capabilities to get to this guy called Kashyapa, who doesn't even leave the Mahameru. Okay, that's where we stop there. Okay, then who has seen this? What is this Mahameru? What is this Surya Mandalam? How do we get to that? All of that. Stay tuned. We will be back tomorrow at 7 o'clock. That's perfectly on time, da. Okay. Yadakshar Padabhrashtam Shyama. Om.
ॐ यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं तु यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देवनारायण नमोऽस्तु ते विसर्गबिन्दुमात्राणि पदपादाक्षराणि च न्यूनानि चातिरिक्तानि क्षमस्व साईश्वर अपराधसहस्राणि क्रियन्ते हर्निशं मया दासोऽयमिति मां मत्वा क्षमस्व साईश्वर अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष साईश्वर हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु.
Good. Okay. Any questions? Comments?
Sairam Anna.
Yeah. Sairama.
Really thanks to Swami for very inspiring session. Yet another inspiring session. The question or the thing that I want to connect with is on the Plakshi. So I was just comparing that with the 8 rules of chanting, right? The Visarga, Bindu, Matra, Pada, Pada, Akshara, Nyuna.
Okay. Yeah. Keep going.
So that actually comes to 8. So does that mean that it is 7 plus the one Kashyapa that Plakshi Rishi is referring to?
No, there are only 7 rules, not 8. The 7 are Varnaswaraha, Matra Balam, Samasantanam. There are 6 actually, right? Only 6 rules of chanting. So that is according to the Sikshavalli itself. There are 6. Visarga, Bindu, Matra, Pada, Akshara. Those that is included in a Kshama Prarthana, whose author we don't know. Where this Shama Prarthana came from, nobody knows. They're shlokas that are put together by, they're not Veda mantras, they're shlokas that were put together somebody. If you find out who created the Kshama Prarthana, I'll be happy to be educated, but I haven't found who has created that. Matrani, Matrani, is saying Shyama, Visarga Bindu Matrani, Ani, Ana, not Ni. Okay. So, so whether they are related to connecting to this vibration, that's a good question. I have to think about that. That's the question you are asking, right? The perfection of those aspects will lead to the proper awareness and understanding of the mantra, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yes. And that is, so if you have a perfect, tuning into that particular frequency of the Wi-Fi router, and that too using the proper password only, the data will flow. Otherwise, the data will not flow. You will have a very poor connection, internet not enabled. Download of data awareness. This see how much love this brother has. He's taking some of the. Said he's creating these shorts now with what is the Sai Gayatri mantra explanation, what is the regular Gayatri mantra. That is really, to me, very inspiring with this. They're doing something about it. They're not saying, I learned this mantra, I'm done. How do I actually put it in a way that everybody can connect to it? And the attention span of a human brain nowadays has fallen now to less than 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes. Everything has to be packaged in less than 2 minutes. Otherwise, they're wasting their time. So what they'll do, so he's saying, oh my God, 6 hours of Vedas in the valley in Cape Town. He's creating shorts. with all those things. And so that, and then these shots, I mean, this sharing that was there is not that, somebody went and prepared and said, today I'm going to do this. It's like a continuous flow of stream of consciousness. And in one of the satsangs at Stanger Center in Durban, 2.5 hours was only about Sai Gayatri Mantra. Nothing. Only Sai Gayatri. What does Sai Gayatri really mean? How do we connect to that mantra? And after 2.5 hours of opining on Sai Gayatri Mantra, then you have the opportunity to chant Sai Gayatri globally with tens of thousands of people. How is that possible without divine grace? So now what I'm saying is, when you are looking at uh, each of these mantra, that I have to know first, I have to understand it next, then I have to become aware of it. At ultimately, you start with knowing. Knowing is the mind. Understanding, meditating, retaining is the intellect. Becoming aware of it is beyond your own individual self. So now when you connect to that, that means first the mind is tuning in, then the intellect tunes in, then it is now beyond your own self. When the mind tunes in, it will only focus on knowing it. And knowing it is like objectifying it. So you take each word and then you begin to look at that word, not interpret that word based on what you heard from somebody else. Sai Gayatri, there are people have written books about it, people have, shared so much about it. But at the end of the day, that is not the experience of this individual self. So the moment you start saying, I want to be biased by what somebody else told me about Gayatri Mantra, or somebody else who told me about this, etc., then what your mind will do, it only just gets focused on it and it will stop learning about it. Because you said, I know. The moment you say, I know, you stop. Then you have to go to the next level. Do I understand? Understand means, am I able to go below that? Understand, not understand. You are standing underneath and then looking at it, like how Bhagavan describes, like a prism. When you are looking, it's like, that's what he calls a study circle about. It's like everybody looking at the different facets of a prism. There'll be multiple perceptions about something. And then when you go to the bottom of it, and when you go look underneath that flat surface of that prism, then every perspective, every facet will be crystal clear. You will be able to see the entire prism from the bottom of the prism. So you have to go underneath that prism. So this perfect chanting of the mantra is a tool. It's not the end objective. The perfect chanting is a tool. And how is that perfect tool? Because you are now tuning into that frequency. You are connecting to that radio wave. You are connecting to that Wi-Fi router. And if you are only happy because you connected to a Wi-Fi router, you stop there. Array, the outcome of connecting to a Wi-Fi router is to use it to download data. And now you start downloading the data. Now you are connecting to the Wi-Fi router. All this data dump comes. What do you do with that? Only clutter your mind and go crazy, looking at how many people liked it, how many people disliked it, how many people are forwarding it, all this nonsense and gibberish. You're caught up in that. All the download of data should be going down into what is the practical application of my own spiritual upliftment from this data. And once you go into that, you don't have to even read anything or write anything or do anything. It is right in front of you. When something is right in front of you, it is your own awareness and in experience, it is undeniable visualization of something, and that is what is called seeing the mantra. And then you will be the mantra. Okay, Sairam, that's the shortest explanation of do we understand that? So yes, Visarga, Bindu, Matra, Pada, Pada, Akshara, all these are important tools to get to what? To connect to the Wi-Fi router. Now you're tuning into the frequency. After you tune into the frequency, what happens? Data download can be enabled. What do you do with the data after it is enabled? If it is only enabled and download, you will clutter the space and you have to buy more space from Google or buy more space from Apple. And you never clean up those data and then you are stuck. After a while, you are tired of what am I doing with all these pictures? What am I doing with all these videos? What am I doing with all these data? I've downloaded so many beautiful books and my disk is cluttered with all these books, but they have no relevance to my life. Do it, see it, be it. Jai Sai Ram. Okay, any other questions?
So now data upload also happens. So which means that you give it back in the sense in with gratitude. Can that be interpreted that way?
Beautiful, yes. Because you know that these data doesn't belong to you, when you actually FTP, file transfer process, and you dump it on somebody else, you can clear your disk and more data can be enabled. That's what's called Saturday morning and Sunday morning Veda class. and you don't have to put your name behind it. There is no need to put your name behind it. That doesn't belong to you at all. So just dump it and move on and keep clearing your disk so that more data can be downloaded much more faster. So the moment you share and you care, you are. This is a very beautiful slokam by Bhartruhari, who compares the knowledge and wealth. Knowledge is wealth, information is wealth. So knowledge as wealth, and he compares what is wealth and what is the knowledge as wealth. So he says regular wealth is subject to getting stolen by thieves. Huh? If you have a bag of money, somebody can steal it from you. If you have a lot of money, there is another stealer called government. You will pay a lot of taxes to the government. And if you accumulated a lot of money and you die leaving that money behind for your children, they will fight for that property, and the money is the cause of causing division within the children. So you created a problem. Then this wealth that you have, if you spend it, you deplete it, right? If you have $100, you go buy something for $50, you are left with only $50. Is a common sense. Now, what is that wealth that is not subject to all those things? And in fact, as you spend it, you will get more of it. Don't you want that wealth? Hello. Don't you want that wealth, which is even more beautiful? As you spend it, you will get more of it. That wealth is called the knowledge of the wealth of wisdom. Wisdom is that wealth. As you spend it, you will make more of it. What he's saying in that shloka, now I'll tell the Sanskrit shloka. Now this is the experiment of this body itself. And I was telling also people in South Africa, don't simply chant the things. Then what will happen? You will only be. No, this is the next level we are moving, right? This body might not have done it 30 years ago. But many of these young people, I mean, I've seen some young guy, 22-year-old in Cape Town, the kind of questions he was asking. I said, dude, this is amazing that you're asking these kind of questions. Beautiful. And this is born and brought up in South Africa. He's very proud of this third generation, fourth generation youngsters. that are taking this seriously and saying, yeah, man, this is pretty phenomenal. I want this wealth. I want this wealth of wisdom. And that wealth of wisdom, which is cannot be stolen by thieves, cannot be taxed by governments, cannot be distributed amongst children once you die. And that which grows as you spend it, that wealth is called the wealth of wisdom or knowledge. Na choraharyam na charajaharyam na bhratrubhajyan na cha bharakari vyaye krute vardhataye nityam vidyadhanam sarvadhana pradhanam. Nachoraharyam cannot be stolen by thieves. Nacharajaharyam cannot be taken away by government. Na bhratrubhajyam cannot be distributed by children or brothers. Nacha bharakari, it is not a burden to carry around. Like 10 kilos of gold you have, it is a burden to carry, or you have to put it in a locker and you never see it in your lifetime and you die. Nobody knows who that locker belongs to. Nacha bharakari. Vyaye krute, as you spend it, vardhatayeva nityam, grows more and more. Vidyadhanam, the wealth of wisdom, sarvadhana pradhanam, is the primordial wealth that you should accumulate. But not only accumulate, but give it away. Spend it. And when you spend it, you will get it more. How you get it more if you spend it? You understood? How is it you get more knowledge if you spend the knowledge? How is that possible? Think about that. It's very beautiful. You get more of something that you spend. Because what happens is, as you are sharing, as you are experimenting with it, experiencing it, you will know you're constantly asking a question after a question after a question. And that question leads to another question, goes you deeper and deeper and deeper inside. So it only grows. It will never get depleted. The moment you say, I know it, what you know and what has been known is dead. The moment you say, I do not know, I don't know is the most powerful mantra. I don't know. I don't know. So whatever you know is only limited. Like I can see that with this body myself. The Rudram classes that were conducted in 2008 are very different from the Rudram classes in 2020, and the Rudram workshops that were done later on, and the Rudram that is continuously growing inside. It's going deeper and deeper and deeper. To some point, at some point, what will happen? It has come to a point of only self-experience, and it cannot be even explained to anybody else. Because it's impossible to align with that. But now what you have aligned with is your center has shifted, not Sai center, your center. Your center has shifted from this self I to the universal I. And that is the beauty of growing from Vyashti to Samashti to Srishti to Parameshti, from the I to we to creation to the creator. So in this University of Cape Town talk, it is not theory of relativity. Huh? What Einstein discovered is theory of relativity. But the actual thing that happens with Veda, the epistemology, timeless epistemology for a modern mind, what happens with this beautiful epistemology is you are studying the knowledge itself. Can you understand? If I'm saying the knowledge itself is a wealth, studying the knowledge itself means what? So Veda mantras are the study of the knowledge itself. Where is this knowledge coming? What is the root of it? As you go deeper and deeper and deeper into it, then your awareness, then you come to this called theory of unity, not relativity. E is equal to IC square. Expansion is equal to individual times community times creation. That was the essence of University of Cape Town talk. E is equal to IC square. Expansion is what is the essence of life. My life is my message. Expansion is my life. And for that, there is no reason, there is no season, and there is no birth, there is no death. You see, have a simple bhajan from Bhagavan, which you have sung and from hundreds of times and listened to probably thousands of times. That itself carries this profound message. Like Manasa Bhajane Guru Charanam was a satsang for 2.5 hours in Saligram Hall in South Africa. Manasa Bhajane Guru Charanam, nothing else. Manasa Bhajane Guru Charanam. Dustara Bhavasagara Taranam. That becomes now everything that you're studying, it becomes a self-study or an inquiry. Jai Sai Ram. You're all tired now. Let's stop. Okay. There are no more questions or comments. Swasti mantra. Om Swastif Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishah Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।